In my review of Dragons Dogma 2, I posted a short of a comparison I did between The Witcher 3 and Dragons Dogma 2, and put bluntly, people were not happy. I was happy, it was the best performing short I've ever had, but people were pissed. Different kind of game. Are you playing the remaster? This is a sham. Seems to me like we're up for a good old-fashioned comparison super duper extravaganza fight-off. Dragons Dogma 2 from 2024 versus Witcher 3 from 2015 with a visual overhaul that is 2 years old. We will be comparing both games in their current state, and I will be pushing the graphics as far as they can go within reason, meaning we're not gonna go below 30 frames per second. Enough talk? Round 1. Story and narrative. This one's a bit tough for me. Let's hand it over to our guy in the field, Greg. Off to you, Greg. Greg? Greg? No? Alright, I will do it. There is honestly not much to talk about here. I'm so sorry to say. A dragon stole your heart, you are the destined one, and you start the game with a memory loss. Your character has zero dialogue and personality, and the secondary characters have no depth at all. And the only one with a sliver of personality is your main pawn and the secondary pawns, which you constantly replace. Now let's talk about The Witcher 3 instead. I haven't really played it for years, but there are just so many iconic moments and deep characters that stand out. Everyone from the Bloody Baron that beat his wife and buried his stillborn baby, to the Ladies of the Wood, to Yennefer, Ciri, Dandelion, and so on. And on top of this, every single side quest is not just kinda voiced and acted, it is excellently voiced and acted, and there are tons of side quests. Just in preparation for this video, I found one I had never even seen before. Even if we ignore the quality of storytelling, there is just no denying that Witcher 3 just has one of the best stories in all of video games. It is easily up there with some of the best video game stories of all time, such as Red Dead Redemption 2, the Mass Effect trilogy, Metal Gear Solid, and more. This one goes to The Witcher 3. Now, let's talk graphics and visuals. First of all, with Dragons Dogma 2, I think sometimes it has some cool visuals. I love the visual effects from the spells you cast. And I think the open game world is pretty impressive if you get high up and you really watch over the landscape, but that is where I'm no longer amazed. I really think the game skimped some places, such as this. And overall, I've heard the argument made from several friends that this looks like a PlayStation 3 title. Now, as for Witcher 3, considering this is a 9-year-old game that got a visual lift 2022, it honestly looks impressive. The trees rustle in the wind, fog and smoke is used to create atmosphere, the sunsets look downright gorgeous sometimes. Some of the in-game health bars above enemies' heads as well as in-game text can feel a bit dated, but the game gives you so many options to tweak the look of the HUD, you could basically remove it if you don't like it. Well, in my book, that's another clear point for The Witcher 3. If the game had not gotten a facelift in 2022, there might have been a case for Dragons Dogma 2. But back in 2015, the game really set a high standard, and the game holds up very well to this day. Now on to the fun stuff. Let's talk about combat. Now, combat is honestly where I feel like Dragons Dogma 2 really shines. It's very physics-based, you're grabbing enemies, you're pushing enemies over cliff sides. It's very arcadey, but it also presents a ton of variety per vocation or class. The game can differ wildly depending on whether you are a fighter who's all up in the face of enemies, or you're a mage hanging back, buffing, healing, doing elemental attacks. And the arcadiness means the combat can also be a bit difficult to keep track of and very chaotic, but overall it's very fun. Now as for The Witcher 3, it can be it's up to you how the combat is like. It can be quite easy on the lowest difficulty, or it can be extremely tactical on higher difficulties. You'll have to make oils, potions, bombs, and you have to use magic, and all these parts combine to make something very tactical where you really have to prepare for each encounter. Mob management is extremely important as you're only one character, and you may have to go craft special arrows for special occasions. In the combat, it can really be what you want it to be. Now in conclusion, I'm gonna have to call this one a draw. Both games offer something that can be fun and unique, and it really is a question of what you find the most fun. Let's talk about atmosphere. Before we dive into this one, let's first agree what atmosphere actually is. Atmosphere is the point where music, visuals, voice acting, and in-game world building and storytelling come into a unison to create something better than the sum of its parts. Let's start with Dragons Dogma 2. I see what they're going for, but I don't think the game's atmosphere is very immersive or very good. The game has great combat. That is very system heavy and with physics and grabbing things and shifting things around, so that's very fun. But the menu is terrible and the world map is really bad. The music is fine, but very run-of-the-mill and not especially iconic, and there is no way I will remember this music in 3 to 5 years. At no point do I ever forget that I am not in this world. I am playing a video game with systems that are interacting with each other. Now let's talk about The Witcher 3. One moment you're investigating a monster, using clues. The next you're preparing for the fight, making oils, potions, reading up on the monster. Another time you might be riding around and spot a man that was hanged, the leftovers of a battlefield, or a town that was overrun by wolves or something else. And the music for The Witcher 3 really suits the game, and it is very iconic. Well, there is definitely a reason that we got a Witcher TV series. The universe lends itself to other formats, and the game can easily be a good experience just watching someone else play it. Most, if not all, things in The Witcher 3 are just extremely detailed and well done. This is another clear win for Witcher 3. Now, I did consider adding technical performance here as well, but seeing as The Witcher 3 has had updates since 2015 and Dragons Dogma 2 came out recently, plus it is running like garbage near towns, that would be unfair. This puts us at 1 point to Dragons Dogma 2 and 4 points to Witcher 3. And that means that Witcher 3 is a clear winner. To me, this is honestly unsurprising. The Witcher 3 is easily one of the best RPGs of all time. What do you think? You agree, or did some of these points rub you the wrong way? Let us know in the comments. If you made it this far into the video, leaving a like would mean the world to me. Remember, good vibes are always free. If you guys want to see the original video that sparked this entire debate, you can click that right here. If you want more gaming content and videos like this, you can subscribe by clicking my logo there on the left. I will see you in the next video.